Good evening and welcome to the Monday, May 17th meeting of the Speedway Redevelopment Commission. I'd like to call the meeting to order and make introductions of the members here this evening. To my right is our Executive Director, Mr. Tim Gropp. To his right is our Executive Assistant, Mr. Tim Ramian. To my left is the Vice President, Jennifer Miller. To her left is our Secretary, Rhonda Schwartz. And to her left is Dr. Terry Reed, representing the Speedway Schools. Joining us on Zoom tonight is Barry Gardner, member, appreciate that. And absent this evening is Gordon Rundle, member as well. The meeting was previously posted publicly and all information had been sent out. We do have confirmation of a quorum and we will proceed with our meeting. Were there any public emails, questions, comments?
There was not.
And with no one in attendance, we will proceed past public comment. Consent of the executive and regular session meeting minutes for the April 19th, 2021 meeting. Those were previously distributed. Did anyone see any corrections or changes needed to be made? Hearing none, we'll approve those with consent. And moving on to item number 5, approval of claims.
Yes, we passed these out previous. I do want to go through a few things. Some of this is related to the move into the Speedway Municipal Center and just kind of figuring out who's covering what to get us up and running. If you look down there, there's a couple expenses with the Wilshaw project. Our intent is to reimburse those back through a different fund at a later date. We did receive another bill today from Drury Simmons Vornum, so we'd love that to get taken care of soon. The first group engineering is part of our contract that we approved previous on the 10th and Castle design. That project is moving along, and I'll give you an update on that in a little bit. The GFC leasing is the Gordon Flesh GFC as supplies for that large format printer, which is our expense versus the copy machine that the town picks up. So. The Marion County Treasurer, I had Tim go back and look. So we received a bunch of tax bills this year, and some of those, when you buy a property, because you're always taxed a year behind, we expect some of those, but we actually were able to work with Barbara Lawrence in the Treasurer's office and then a gentleman in the Auditor's office to clean up a lot of those. They were super helpful, and we appreciate their help. It was nice getting a quick response. These are associated with the Lenore property. And then one of them is with the Zellman property, which are kind of, those should be worked out. Had to do with the B&O Trail. A lot of those parcels were split, combined, and this should be the last time we see any of those. So hopefully that's all done. The invoice for the public art in the town hall. Our Speedway Municipal Center is on here, and that I mentioned in my note to you guys, but the RQAW is actually an expense of the Transportation Committee. We will get reimbursed for that one, and we'll put that right back into the TIF account.
Very good. Anyone have any additional questions for Mr. Gropp in regards to the claims? I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims as submitted.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the claims as submitted.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor of approving the claims as submitted, say aye. Aye?
Aye.
There it is, Barry. That's four ayes. Claims are approved 4-0. Moving on to the next item, the director's report.
Yeah.
It's nice of you to give it to us from the table up here instead of the podium.
I like this. This is nice.
This is good. This is good.
It's like a Thanksgiving when you move up to the big boy table. Yeah, there is just, I don't need to tell anyone in this room, but there's just a lot going on. It's obviously May in Speedway, so we're dealing with a lot of events, a lot of vendors, as well as I feel very blessed to live in a community that has so many projects going on. So I'll give you a little bit of everything that we're dealing with here. May related, we have a couple event license agreements for the race that we've been putting together. Those are on the agenda tonight. We were able to work with IMS to get a trailer on the trails, so they were able to make a little bit of money. We're trying to spread the wealth around a little bit. And also, we are allowing Tammy Smith to park our lots, the ones that make sense. Obviously, it's a kind of a weird year still. In particular, the Zellman lot and the lot next to USAC, to make money for the Parks Department. She, this first weekend, she made nearly $2,000, so that's fantastic. That goes to park programming, as well as some of her matching grant that she has received. So we plan on doing the same thing the next 2 weekends. We're still waiting to hear back from IMS. We typically see what they'd like to do for race day. We don't want to get into the parking business necessarily on race day, so we kind of defer to them. We have not come to an agreement on that yet. So obviously they had to pivot pretty quick, so they're a little bit behind their normal schedule as well. So we'll let you know, but we'll go from there. And race weekend's a little different anyways, so. Happy that Tammy puts in so much work and is able to benefit our Parks Department with that. So, side note, with Timothy Ramian leaving us the end of June, he will be vacating the special hearing examiner position, which is to be a redevelopment commission member or staff member. We had asked Jennifer Miller, Vice President Jennifer Miller, if she had an interest, and did. So we have started that process that she will take over the special hearing examiner starting in July. So thank you for volunteering to do that, and look forward to getting you on board with that volunteer position as well.
Thank you.
Emphasize that volunteer. Let's see, around town, you're going to see, you've seen some activity at Brixmore. So they demoed the old CarX site. That will be a project. They haven't announced it yet, so we've asked them for a comment. But hopefully they announce that pretty soon, but it'll be a nice improvement at that entrance. We're excited for that. There also is one of the anchors is moving locations in there, so we're reviewing those plans. And then on the west side in the vacancy, the west side of the development, there will be a national retailer coming in there as well real soon. So I hope, we don't want to jump the gun. We want them to be able to announce their projects, but a lot of activity in the Brixmore area, and that facility is filling up really nicely. You know, there's always been a little bit of concern about vacancy, but I think it's going pretty well there. You'll see some other updates on Crawfordsville Road. CVS recently updated their signage and did some ADA work. There's a new sign going up at the Speedway shops that's going through approval. And then the Wilshaw project. So there's progress still being made on the Wilshaw project. We have confirmed through our attorneys that a new financing source has been secured and that the requirements to that financing source have been met. We do not have many details beyond that. So we are waiting, working with them and Wilhelm on a timeline of I believe they're reviewing loan documents right now. Once they have those agreed on both sides, they will set a closing date. Once they set that closing date, we'll be able to get a timeline of closing to financing to when Wilhelm will be able to remobilize. So it's not anything we want to get too excited about yet, but there is progress being made there. At the same time, our side is continuing to push with the economic development amendment number 4, which strengthens some of our ability to claw back if something still falls through on this way. So there's a promising update, but we don't want to get, this project's been dragging on for quite a while, and we'll cautiously move forward. But it was a positive sign that they have secured a commitment for the financing necessary to move forward. So we will keep you updated as more information comes to us. 1300 block project, there was a special hearing examiner meeting prior to this meeting to look at some of the use variances and the signage. We are reviewing their plans right now. There is some negotiation that needs to go. Obviously, projects are struggling right now with the cost of construction, so they're looking at ways they can value engineer projects. We're okay with some of that, maybe not with others, so we plan on sitting down with the developer to work through those differences. Everything else is in process, that we're waiting on their ILP release so that we can do our review locally. We haven't heard anything on variances, and then we have some on our end. We have to do an amendment to the environmental restricted covenants, as well as close out or possibly move some of the wells, the monitoring wells that are on that site. So we're working through all that. It's been submitted, it's being processed, and there's just a lot of this due diligence work. They were hoping to be under construction in May. Assuming everything gets through approval processes and there's no big surprises, I would say a target would be July. So we still need about another month to work through some of these approval processes. So if sooner, that'd be great, but I would say that's a little more realistic. OMR has broken ground on their project and are moving dirt there. That is a 50,000 square foot addition to their current building, and we'll really complete that east side of Main Street. So we're excited about that. That's been a while coming. There is the Able building. We received last week 3 tenant build-outs for that building. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't had a chance to sit down and look at them, but so I don't want to announce who they are or anything. But I don't know if that fully fills the building or if there's one more spot left. But to get 3 all at once was pretty impressive. So that building's going well as well. Allison Transmission was part of the special hearing examiner. They have what they're calling a storage building.
Yes, a storage building.
But it's about 17,000 square feet of additional storage so that's a nice addition. I don't think there's any problems there. They're finishing up the Innovation Center. They're going through the process to update their sign at 10th and Castle, or add a sign and change that wall, if you will, at 10th and Castle. And then we are working on our portion. So they're working with AES Indiana to bury some lines along 10th Street, and we are working on upgrading the intersection at 10th and Castle as far as decorative lighting and decorative intersection. So we're trying to coordinate all that in a real tight area. So it's a complicated process, but if all this comes together, we'll have new sidewalks, lighting.
There's a new turn lane going in too, isn't there?
We are planning for a potential turn lane, but we have not pulled the trigger, and that's some of the difficulty is right-of-way issues with that. But our intent is to plan and set our posts back far enough that if Indianapolis or the town agree upon a project to add left turn lanes east and west onto Castle, we could add those at a future date. We don't have to change everything we've already done. So it makes a lot of sense for us to invest in that now and plan for it in the future, but there's no funding in place for that. But I think anyone who's driven 10th Street, especially during a busy time, would agree that turn lanes would be very valuable there.
Absolutely.
So. And I feel like, we didn't even talk about Founders Square. So I didn't even have that on my notes. That's where we're at right now. Founders Square, so all these, everybody can see it as they're going out. It looks really nice. We're excited about it. We are working through this all being a new development, we're working through some signage standards that we want to keep everybody consistent to. I know they're waiting on signage approvals, but we feel that with the high visibility of that development, we don't need large signs there. So we're trying to keep everyone to monument signs at a specific height. So there's the Aldi crew has broken ground. We actually have a pre-con on the building portion of that tomorrow. We have received preliminary plans of the corner tenant that has not been announced yet. And we've received some of the preliminary information on the Hampton Inn and Conference Center. So, and then we had an announcement on the senior living as well. So everything's moving really nicely. It's going to get really busy in Founders Square. Aldi's is going to open up this summer, and we're going to have a whole lot of construction going on. So we're working, luckily it's early on, we have places to put them, but we're working on coordinating all that, prepping for a very busy summer at Founders Square. So the last thing I have for you is we've been spending a lot of time on events through town. I just want to mention a couple. So tomorrow night is the taco run on Main Street. I don't have a lot of details other than taco run is tomorrow. Wednesday night is the 19th is the first bike night on Main Street, and it's my understanding they have significant interest on that. So the SRC has agreed to close 2 of their lots. They're going to have a ban on 1426. So from our standpoint, we're just coordinating the closure of those lots. The town is hosting, and we want to give a big shout out to the Exchange Club of Speedway. Josh Clay is the president and has stepped up for Rockin' on Main on Friday the 28th. And the town is working with the Exchange Club, but Exchange Club's doing a lot of the fundraising, most of the fundraising and logistics to make that a fantastic event, especially on a year where Carb Day is not going to feel quite like Carb Day. It's basically a practice till 2 o'clock. We will be closing Main Street from about 16th to Gilman. There will be 3 stages along there, beer gardens, food trucks, kid zone activities, tons for everybody to do all day long. So encourage you guys, everybody to come out on Friday, May 28th and support local businesses and Speedway. I think it's going to be a great event. And again, the Exchange Club has really stepped up to help make that happen. There's a private event on Saturday the 29th on Gilman, so that will be closed. And then later on, we'll have some announcements about Oktoberfest, the Run 317 event, and the Daredevil 5K. So I think we're really seeing people have been stir crazy for a year, anxious to get out, and it's been nice for the town, but it's been a lot to kind of coordinate. And but we're thankful people are coming to Speedway to spend their dollars and support our local businesses. With that, I will stop talking.
Well done. Well done. Any questions for?
Yes, I have a question. On the light at 25th and High School,
Yes.
if the front guy is sleeping, there's no more than 3 cars that can get out when on a light change. And I went to the post office, I forget when I went, and they almost were backed up to the post office. And after the race the other day, they were backed up the whole way back to the light coming out of the shopping center.
Is this westbound turning south?
Westbound turning south to get on the interstate.
That has been an ongoing issue. We have reported it to Indianapolis, and we'll need to follow up to see where they're at on that timing issue there. It's just a syncing issue with the light at High School and Crawfordsville Road. So I will pass that back along, and Dave Rainey, our owner's rep, will give a call into Indianapolis DPW and see what we can do.
When I go into the Burger King there, or the Hardee's, if I get something to go and there's more than 3 cars wanting to turn left, I go back through the shopping center because
Yeah.
it takes forever to get.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Barry.
Tim, I would say it's been an issue in that piece. I will tell you that's my way to work, and I avoided. I actually go north to go up by District of Indiana and jump on High School that way, because 9 times out of 10 I can beat someone who goes around the other way and comes up 25th Street. So it continues to be, has been, as you noted, and continues to be a timing issue there that Dr. Reed's right. If you get maybe 2 or 3 cars through it, especially if somebody's sleeping, you don't get much through there. So we want to really maybe look at that, especially as that traffic continues to pick up around that area.
Is it truly a timing issue, or is there ever a backup where they can't turn onto?
Timing.
It's all
It's
timing.
just timing.
Okay. That's helpful. We hadn't heard that in a while, and sometimes it
It'll
helps.
get worse if you can go straight across into Founders Square.
Yeah. Okay. We will pass that along and see if we can't get some action on it. So,
Any additional questions? All right, thank you for the director's report, Tim. We'll move on to the next item, new business. We'll be discussing the approval of the lease agreement between the Civil Town of Speedway and the Speedway Redevelopment Commission.
Yeah, so this lease is kind of a formality. We're obviously technically our own entity. However, we're housed in the Speedway Municipal Center. We have a budget line item for rent, even though we're all kind of the same funds. If the State Board of Accounts ever audited us, they would say, why are you paying rent to the town? Where's your lease? So this lease documents, it reflects what we have in our budget for a 5-year term. It's the exact same lease we use for the schools as well. Little different term, they want a little different terms, but it's a 5-year renewable and 5-year increments, negotiable after that for the budgeted amount.
Any questions in regards to that?
How is this in comparison to our rent at the old place?
So it's fairly comparable. It's slightly less per month. We were paying all the utilities, we were paying Comcast, water. This is just us one payment per month, and then it's not our building. So the theory is when they have a budget for the municipal center next year, they're paying all the bills, everything's in their name, we're just paying our rent and we're done. There's no other expenses to the SRC, so we can plan for that. And we're not budgeting for extras or fluctuations.
Thank you.
So it's a lot easier on our end.
Very good. Any additional questions? With that, I'll consider a motion to approve the lease agreement between the Civil Town of Speedway and the Speedway Redevelopment Commission.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the lease agreement between the Civil Town of Speedway and the Speedway Redevelopment Commission.
I'll second.
All right. Hearing the motion and the second, we'll go to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 And 4 are in favor, 0 opposed. Motion passes. Moving on to the next item of new business, Resolution 2021-06, resolution of the Speedway Redevelopment Commission determining need to capture incremental assessed valuation.
So this is a annually required resolution for all redevelopment commissions in Indiana. You are to evaluate your projected TIF revenue for the upcoming year and let them know if you have enough to cover your bills or if you have excess beyond your bond amounts plus any projected project costs you might have. You can pass that along to the overlapping taxing units, and it adjusts the tax rates. We have never been in a community that has what I'd call excess TIF funds. We have enough to do projects as they come up, but it is automatic if you're over 200% of what you need. We're nowhere close to that. So this resolution does not pass any through to the overlapping taxing units at this time.
All right. Any additional questions? All right. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion on Resolution 2021-06.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2021-06, a resolution of the Speedway Redevelopment Commission determining need to capture incremental assessed valuation.
Second.
Thank you. Hearing a motion and a second, we will proceed to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 And 4 ayes, motion passes 4-0. I appreciate that, thank you. And we'll move on to our exciting line item for the month of May, event and lot use requests.
All right. We have 2 license agreements. I think we called them contracts on the agenda, license agreements, very similar. The first one is with Infinium Spirits. It is Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Sounds amazing. to utilize our lot at, I'm going to get the address wrong, 4904 West 16th Street is the lot next to the USAC building that we own for race weekend. They will come in that evening when Wilcox's agreement at 6:30. They'll be there all weekend set up on that entire spot. This is a good deal for the SRC. It will bring in more revenue for the SRC versus having to park that lot all weekend. They've been really easy to work with. They're all over every permit and approval they need outside of the Redevelopment Commission, and are excited to be part of the action this year, and could be a longer-term partnership down the road if everything goes well. So,
Very good. Do you want to go over the second contract as well, or do we want to vote on them individually?
that's up to you guys.
We can do
Do you have an issue?
They're very similar. They're the same contract.
Yeah,
with
it's the same
different terms.
contract, different addresses and slightly different dollar amounts.
The second contract is with Sponsor Source, doing business as Zen Tour, which is a tobacco-less pouch.
Nicotine product of some
Nicotine
sort.
product, thank you.
Yep.
It's all a big blur to me. We have worked with Sponsor Source in the past with Shell. I think Shell was the one they did 2 years ago. They bring quite a few to us, possibilities, and have been very easy to work with. We were able to find them, they normally go in the 4904 lot, which was already booked. They didn't get to us soon enough. So we originally looked at the Zellman lot, but then with the Wilshaw project being down, we're able to use the Triangle lot. So we have secured them a spot at 4747 West 16th Street, which is the Triangle lot of the Wilshaw.
Yeah, look at a ton of foot traffic there.
Should be a nice spot for them.
Very good. Does anyone have any questions in regards to the contracts, locations, any of that? All right, hearing none, then I will entertain a motion to approve the contracts as discussed.
Mr. President, I make a motion we approve the contract with Infinitum Spirits and approve the contract with Sponsor Source.
I'll second.
Thank you. Hearing a motion and a second, we'll vote on approval of those contracts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And none opposed. Motion passes 4-0 to approve both of those contracts. Thank you very much. Any old business you'd like to discuss?
We have none today.
Anyone have any announcements or anything they'd like to make? And in addition to Tim's, you had quite the laundry list of events there, so.
Sure, I missed a few things.
Undoubtedly. Hearing none, I hope everybody enjoys the upcoming qualification weekend and the taco run and bikes on Main, and then we'll go to Rockin' on Main and have a race. So, and there's vaccination sites all over the state. So if you haven't been vaccinated, feel free to do so.
12 and 0.
There you go. Any other points of interest? All right, hearing none, we'll adjourn the meeting at 6:27 under consent.
Of
I can borrow first.
picture of